Thank you for joining us this evening for the Elevation Officials Training Speaker Series. My name is Sean Hall. I'm one of the founders of the Elevation Officials Training. The officials training originally started out, for those that are joining us new, started out as something that we hosted a couple different summer camps at University of Maryland, Towson University, and Mount St. Mary's over the course of the years. And really had a good impact, really good community that we were building. And then naturally COVID hit. And so in 2020, we had to find another way to reach our community. And, you know, our mission across the board is we wanted to build a community of committed and aspiring officials who want to get better at their craft through continued training and mentoring. So we really wanted to give back and share and open up the additional resources that we have available to us in terms of the people we know in the business. And so the challenge with these speaker series is to provide some educational content, some training that you could utilize to make you a better official. So if you could go to the next slide, Abigail, it'd be great. So again, the fall speaker series is something. This particular fall, September 13th through October 18th, this is a prep to get ready for the season. What you need to do, consider, and understand as you get ready. Last week, we had Tony Green on as a Division II supervisor, Southeastern Conference men's basketball official, decorated NCAA official also. Really just gave us some helpful tidbits and connections about how to address, interact with the supervisor, especially as things have changed in this new environment that we're working with, how and what we need to consider as we are positioning ourselves to hopefully move up, whether it's to get that high school game, championship game you wanted, or to get to the collegiate level, junior college, Division I, II, and III. And then also there's an opportunity for those of you that are interested in the pro ranks, FIBA, international basketball, things of that nature. So, tonight, I wanted to bring one of our guest speakers that's been with us the last 2 years, David Zetts with Referee Advantage. The topic for this evening is going to be the 10 biggest mistakes referees make to get in shape and do what is needed instead. So, you know, fundamental to a referee's success is the way you look and the way you move. You know, at camp, we really don't talk about it a lot because the expectation is you're going to come to camp in the best shape as possible, moving well, and understanding that that's a foundational thing that you need to bring with you, something that you can control and is something that you can utilize. You know, whether you are getting ready from a prep situation, you're managing during the year, during the basketball season, you really have to create a plan of action. You really have to create an organized plan to be able to help you accomplish what your goals and objectives are, to balance strength and performance, so that if you do run into a situation where you get hurt during the year, things of that nature, you'll understand what you need to do and to get better, to get back on the court. I had a specific injury, a calf injury, 3 to 4 years ago, and I could feel it during the season, the little twinge. I was a little worried. Is it going to pull? Is it not? And I just wasn't thinking about the right stuff, you know? So I went to David, worked on a plan with him, try to strengthen my core, strengthen my legs, strengthen my calves, strengthen the things that have a direct effect on all of that. And last season, it was just tremendous. I felt really good, you know, and the ultimate compliment is you walk out on the court and your partners look at you going, man, what is going on with you? You look fantastic. You've been getting it in and, you know, putting the work in. It's self-satisfying. You know, David's worked with over 450 officials, both men and women, both pro ranks and college. And I think it's an important topic for us to go through. My particular workouts are only 2 times a week. We know that you're busy. You know, you're going to find whatever excuse, you know, for this to get in the way, but there is a way that you can utilize this plan 2 times a week, getting it done, build on it, and actually feel really good. And that's the best part, is physically you can step on the court feeling really good, strengthened, in your ability to be able to perform. And then it's all about, the game and everything. So without further ado, I want to bring on David Zetts. David is coming to us from California. He is the president and founder of Referee Advantage. David, welcome to the EOT Speaker Series.
Thank you, Sean. And it's been a pleasure working with you this last year, Sean, as well. I see a lot of my friends, a lot of my clients and coaching members on this call as well. So thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys take some really good notes. So, if you got a pen, I recommend you grab that now and a piece of paper so that you can take good notes. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. And I'm going to get really just like straight to the point on this. So that we don't have a ton of fluff as we get going. Okay. And so I'll just start by saying, if you don't go out there in your next game and show the assigners, the coaches, the players that you're an athlete and that you can get up and go down there, up and down the floor. If you can't do that, if you can't show that, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Now, I heard those words for the first time from a guy by the name of Ed Rush. Now, those of you who don't know who Ed Rush is, which I'm sure many of you do, Ed Rush, former NBA referee for 30 some odd years. It's something like that. Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. NBA commissioner of officials for another, I don't know, 10, 15 years after that, and so there I was, my very first camp. And, I've been a trainer my whole life. And, it's just really been a passion of mine ever since I was a kid, when my dad had a quadruple bypass surgery when he was just 55 years old. And I got to thinking, what's wrong with the stuff that I'm doing out there? What's wrong with how I look out there? Because there I was, my first camp. I thought I was an athlete. I had this chip on my shoulder. And Ed Rush is telling me that I don't look right, that like my run looks funny. And I'm like, what is he talking about? My run looks funny. Like me? Like there's no way, until I looked at the video. As the first time I broke down video, and I looked at the video and I was like, man, he's right. Something does look a little bit funny about this. So, when it comes to looking the part, there's a lot that goes into it, right? Like it's like how you look in the mirror is one thing, but then also how you move is another thing. What I like to talk about with a lot of my coaching members in my program is, we want to work on the show, right? We want to give you that look that you're really looking for so that you can boost your credibility out there, so that you can just fine tune your body a little bit. Because there's a lot that goes in to being a great official. There's a lot that goes into, being a great communicator and all these other things that we need, all these boxes we need to check as an official. What I'm going to be focusing today on is simply the fitness aspect. But I will tell you from my experience and from my clients' experiences is, when you can look the part and run well out there, your presence, your projection, your perception goes way up in the eyes of everyone else, right? And so, that's why I call my business Referee Advantage, because it is a huge advantage. A lot of my clients talk about how they get way less pushback when, going from one season, they were maybe a little bit overweight, and the next season, they dialed it in and they look totally different. And like, you're just going to get more respect out there. People want to see that you like. Sean and I talk about this all the time. You said this before, Sean. You said, you should treat your refereeing like a business, and Sean talks about, I know you talk about that, and a lot of people don't talk about that. But part of the business and part of you checking the boxes is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go right into the 10 biggest mistakes. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see. Good. You guys can see that. Yeah, Sean, good. So first thing we're going to talk about today is the 10 biggest mistakes referees make to transform their body. And then we're going to get into the 4 keys to look and feel great and the easy way. Okay. And by easy, I mean, like, for real, guys, everyone's got different fitness levels in here, but there is a process that's going to work for you when you do this right. Okay. So moving right on into the first mistake, grab a pen, write this down. Mistake number 1, when it comes to getting in really, really great shape. Mistake number 1 is diets. Okay. Now, never have I ever, at times 1,000 evers, put any of my clients on a diet. The reason why is because 99.99% of the time somebody goes on a diet, and this might be you. If this is you, that's okay. But 99.9% of the time, people go on a diet, they fall off after about 30 days. Okay. So if you're looking to transform your body, there are a lot of businesses out there. There are a lot of nutrition programs. There are a lot of things that people are teaching you that are basically kind of just quick fixes. Okay. Now, that's not to say that I don't want you to get quick results. Okay. And I'm going to teach you how to do that as we go along with this presentation. Okay. But one of the biggest mistakes is diets, because what happens is, let's say you go on a diet for 30 days. Let's say, I don't know, let's say you lose 25 pounds or something. Yeah. You lose 25 pounds after the 30 days. You go off the diet. What happens? You gain it all back, and then you gain another 5 pounds on top of it. Gaining it all back is worse enough, right? After the 30 days, it was like, what was the point of that first initial 30 days that you just went on this diet? And then the next 30 days, so over the course of 30 days, you lost 25 pounds. Over the course of 60 days, you gained 5. And it's like, what the heck was the point of that? Okay. And, one of the biggest problems with diets, and there are a lot of trainers out here that will legit just throw diets at you. Okay. If you're trying to get a result. And I think that that's a very primitive way to go about it. I think that that's a lazy approach to getting a result, not only in the short term, but also in the long term. And it also can totally ruin your metabolism. And that's not what I want for you. And that's not what I want for anybody that I work with. That's not what I want for any official on the floor. Okay. Because we're all trying to build each other up out here. And the better we can all look out there and feel and move and dial in a process that works for us, the better we're all going to be. And it's just going to boost our credibility as officials as a whole. Okay. So mistake number 1, diets. By the way, if you guys have questions while I'm going, go ahead and write those down or throw them in the chat, just because, I'm going to be flying through this stuff. I want to make sure I get through all of the content first, and then we'll probably have plenty of time. Yeah, Sean, we'll probably have time for questions at the end. So any questions that you have on any particular topic, make sure you write it down. I'll make sure to address it, because there's a ton of info here, and I'm just going to be flying through this. Okay. So number 1 is diets. Mistake number 2, you guys ready? Whoops. Here we go. Mistake number 2, pills, supplements, and cleanses. Okay. Now, again, same sort of reason. This is there are a lot of businesses out there selling quick fixes that are impossible to stick with. So whatever change you make, I always say, one of the things I do with my coaching members is, you and I sit down, we have a conversation, we talk about your goals, we figure out, all right, what are the things that maybe we can adjust, just one little tweak here, one little tweak there, because oftentimes you're not far off on your process. Okay. Oftentimes, you're looking for that quick fix. You're looking for that diet pill. You're looking for that, special protein powder that's going to get you to the next level. And fundamentally, that's all just fluff, that's not the thing. Those are not the things that you should be focusing on if you're trying to get real lasting results. Okay. I am not saying that there are problems with supplements. I'm not saying, don't drink your protein powder. But what I am saying is that shouldn't be the first thing on the list. All right. And so let's put all these mistakes. A lot of them I'll tell you never do them. But things like supplements, I'm not saying never do that. But what I am saying is there's a process that's going to work for you that doesn't involve you worrying about what's the supplement that's going to get me the 10 pounds of fat loss. Okay. Because fundamentally, it's all just lies. All right. And I will just be flat out full like Sean knows me plenty by now. I'm fully transparent when it comes to this stuff. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I will talk a lot of shit on this call on a lot of things that just don't work. Okay. So pardon my French there, but I think you guys get the point on that one. So, and like things like diet pills, really bad for your heart, guys. We want to stay heart healthy out there. You know, I know there are plenty of stories of guys, not doing so well out there and having to like go to the hospital because like, they just weren't doing the things that they need to do to take care of their body. Okay. So, so that's mistake number 2. Write those down. Number 3, cutting out whole food groups. All right. What do I mean by that? What is a whole food group? In the chat, if anyone wants to start putting in the food groups, I'm not talking about the food pyramid, by the way. That was like 1992. That was like, I'm dating myself right now. That was the year I was born. Okay. And just so happened to be my claim to fame, Michael Jordan's birthday. That's like my coolest thing. That's like the only cool thing about me. So 1992 was February 17th. That's when the food pyramid was a thing. So that has been totally debunked. Okay. The food pyramid doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know who started that. It was like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not even going to say who it was. Don't quote me on it. But anyway, point is, cutting out whole food groups. I'm not talking about the breads and cereals and things like that. I'm talking about macronutrients. Okay. Some of you may have heard of what a macronutrient is, but there are 3 of them. Okay. And I wonder if I can pull up the chat. Has anyone said anything in the chat yet on that? Does anyone take a wild guess? What do we got? Let's see. I can't even pull it up. Where is it? Hang on. Where's my chat? There it is. There's my chat. Okay. So what do we have here? We have. So yeah. Okay. So who said boom? All right. So Robert Abney, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Robert's one of my coaching members. He totally crushes. All right. So carbs, that's one of them. Alcohol is not one of them, but we could talk about that, Zach. Ben says proteins. That's another one. We're missing one. Come on, guys. There are 3 macronutrients. One of them's carbs, one of them's proteins, one of them's fats. Thank you, Abigail. Boom. Abigail, you're not allowed to answer. Come on, that's cheating. All right. So there are a lot of things out there, and you guys are probably wondering, what is he talking about cutting it? Look, there are a lot of people who tell you that you need to just cut out carbs. There are a lot of people who will tell you that you just need to cut out fat. There are things called the keto diet. There are things called all these things that are called these things. Okay. And let me just tell you what they're called is just a marketing trick to get you to buy their crap. Okay. Okay. So like, I'm not kidding you. You should eat all the macronutrients. Now, whether or not you eat one more than the other is kind of your preference. One of the things I do with my coaching members is if you feel like nutrition is an issue for you, we simplify that stuff. I'm going to get to this in a little bit, but like just kind of touch on this. Sometimes it's as simple as like, you don't have to cut out carbs. Like if you like to eat ice cream every once in a while, like eat your ice cream. If you like to have a beer with the guys after the game every once in a while, I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking beer with the guys after the game. Like if you guys have seen me at camps do some of these talks, you'll know that like after the talk, I'm like got my bourbon and like we're all hanging out, and there's like, so my point is cutting out whole food groups is not the answer to getting the result, especially if you like some of those things. Like a lot of trainers will be like, oh, well, you got to just like, or nutritionists or whatever. They'll be like, you just got to cut out carbs and your whole life is going to change. But it goes back to the whole diet thing too, guys. If you're going to cut out carbs, are you going to be able to do that forever? Like, be honest with yourself. Are you? I don't know. If you are, great. I don't know about you, but I love burgers. I also love bread. I also love spaghetti and wine. Okay. And so, there's a smarter approach to this, and we're going to get to that. But cutting out an entire macronutrient, there's 3 macronutrients for a reason. Your body metabolizes all of them. And so if you take one out, what that does over time, in a pretty quick time actually is it can actually lower your metabolism pretty quickly, because your body basically is like forgets how to process an entire macronutrient. So you should eat a balanced you should eat those things, carbs, proteins, and fats, in a balanced way that suits your body. Okay. And every body is different. You know, a lot of people don't like gluten, doesn't agree with them. That's totally fine. You know, if that's you, we can come up with a plan that's going to still get you a result. Let's say your goal is to lose 20 pounds and you love gluten. Guess what? You can lose 20 pounds and still eat gluten. That's a thing too. Okay. So, that's mistake number 3, cutting out whole food groups. You shouldn't do it. Take a smarter approach, take a simpler approach, and take a short-term and a long-term approach, not just a short-term approach. Does that make sense? If it does, give me some nods. I'm watching you guys. I'm seeing your heads. I'm seeing your reactions. All right, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's like for real. Like my biggest thing is let's get you the fastest result possible. And then let's also get you a long-term sustainability result that you can continue to build off of, because it's all about building that foundation. You know, as well as I do, if you don't have the foundation of the house built, you can't build anything on top of that. Okay. So let's take a smarter approach and let's not try to like build the roof before we build the foundation. Okay. Number 4, meal timing. I don't know if you guys have heard. There's this thing out there. It's been around for, I don't know, it's about 8 years now, maybe 10. I don't know. Time's flying. Time is flying, isn't it? But meal timing is this thing called intermittent fasting. Let me tell you something about intermittent fasting. It's called skipping breakfast. People have been doing it for thousands of years. Okay. So it's just another marketing trick to get you to like buy into the whole fad. And so, but I will tell you, I am bashing intermittent fasting right now, but like I skipped breakfast all the time. So like I technically am an intermittent faster intermittently throughout the week, but I don't call it that because I feel like I'd be lying to you guys about, you know, the actual truth behind this stuff. So, so when it comes to meal timing, that's same thing. Why is it a mistake? Because if you're just focused on, oh, I don't know when I should eat, and your goal is to like, whatever your goal is, if you have a goal, for one, you should have some goals, right? When it comes to transforming your body, no matter where we are, no matter what your fitness level is, you can always improve something, right? And if you want to be, you know, a top 1%er, especially in the referee world, like you should be working on improving those things. You know, like Sean here, he's a Division I referee. You've been doing this for a long time, Sean. And Sean dials it in. Sean follows a plan that works best for him. You know, I meet him right where he's at. We've taken him to a whole nother level. He doesn't have calf pain anymore. You know, so like these things are very, very simple. They can be very, very simple. But a lot of times we just get confused and we don't take action on anything because like there's so much information out there that we're just like, oh my gosh, we get like, what do they call it? Like analysis paralysis or whatever. You know, like I don't want that for you. That's not what's going to get you the result. So meal timing, look, if you want to skip breakfast, but don't focus on meal timing being the thing that like gets you to weight loss or that gets you the muscle mass that you want. Okay. Number 5, your mom's group fitness class. Mistake number 5. Okay. I see Abigail laughing. I see some people laughing. Look, nothing against your mom. I think she's a great person. I think your mom is amazing. And I probably don't know her, by the way. So, but the point is, yeah, like I used to work, I'll just tell you the story. I used to work at a gym called Equinox. Okay. I was a personal trainer there for a few years, worked with a lot of, you know, high performing individuals, a lot of athletes, things like that. Now there was this class, right? I'd be working with my client on the gym floor, and there would be this group fitness class going on. And there's this class that was called, I'm not even kidding you, this was the name of the class in the schedule. It was called Best Butt Ever. Okay. Now, I don't have to tell you who was in there. Okay. But it was basically a bunch of people who looked like my mom. Okay. And they were all in there. And they were doing like the jumpity things, and they were doing like the innie outie stuff with like the bands, and they were doing like all this kind of haphazard, like just jumping around kind of stuff. And let me tell you something. I worked there for 2.5 years at this, and I would see those same ladies go in there every single week, 3 times a week or more, sometimes every single day. And not a single one of them changed. Okay. I'm telling you, their bodies stayed the same for 2.5 years. Okay. So I'm just saying, nothing against your mom or nothing against those group fitness classes. My point is, if you're trying to get a real result and be an athlete and be able to like have more show and more go out there on the floor, the mom's group fitness class thing is not really where you should be putting your time. You guys are busy. You guys have jobs on top of your job. And a lot of you probably have 3. Okay. So like my point is, let's be a little bit smarter with the time that you actually put in to dedicate to your body to get the results you want. Okay. Number 6, excessive cardio. Why is this a mistake? Well, we're going to get into what you should do here in a little bit. These are all the mistakes. But what do I mean by excessive cardio? Well, a couple things. Number one, kind of depends on what your goals are. But fundamentally, as a referee, and I'll tell you this later when I get into what you should do. But fundamentally, you as a referee should be following a sport-specific program and a goal-specific program. And a lot of referees, for some reason, think that they need to just run to stay in shape, or they need to just go on the elliptical, or they need to just swim laps in the pool, you know, if they want to look better in their stripes, if they want to run faster and things like that. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'll let you in on a secret. More running isn't necessarily going to make you any faster. Okay. We'll get into what will here in a little bit, but excessive cardio for the sake of excessive cardio isn't necessarily going to be conducive to you having that show and that go factor that you really want as a referee. Okay. You know, like, especially during the season, you guys are running enough already. You really shouldn't be running as part of your program while you're in season, especially you guys who are working 5-6 games a week, you know, even the guys who are working 2-3 games a week. Your program should complement what you're doing out there, not consume what you're doing out there. Your program should not slow you down while you're out on the floor. Your program should speed you up, okay, and make you feel better and bulletproof your body, okay? Tony Green said last week, that was a great call last week, and I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that he said. I have a page of notes here from that talk. One of the things he said was, one injury can end it all. And more running is just going to be more risk that you're going to hurt yourself, especially when you're not implementing the things that I'm going to tell you to do once we get through these mistakes. Okay, so, you know, he had an Achilles tendon tear. Look, there are ways to bulletproof your body. You know, you need to work on your mobility, your speed, your strength, and your conditioning, right? But like during the season, maybe not so much conditioning. Right? During the season, maybe a little more mobility, maybe a little bit more strength because you're just running. So you should complement the things that you're doing out there with basically the opposite sort of thing. Right. So, and a lot of people get that wrong. A lot of people think, well, I'm just trying to lose these 10 pounds. I just need to run 3 weeks before the season starts. And tell you what, that's a really great way to tear your Achilles, especially when you haven't been doing anything in the off season. Okay. And we can get into I know some of you are probably gonna have questions in season versus off season type stuff. We're going to get a little bit into injury prevention as well. So remember, write down your questions and we'll dial it in for you by the time we're done. Okay. But excessive cardio is not the answer, no matter what your goal is. Number 7, spot training. Another way to say this is like isolation exercises. So like if you think like a lot of people go into the gym and they just do a bunch of bicep curls and then walk over here and they do the lateral raises and then get on this machine and do a leg extension. And they're not training movements. Okay. So as a referee, you should be training movements, not muscles. Okay. You can still train your biceps. Like Sean, I give you bicep curls, but is that the first thing you do when you get into the gym?
No.
Just go like this. Just go like this.
No. No.
Right? Like we focus on the things that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck first, right? So that you don't spend a lot of time in there, right? And then we're going to progress those things as we go. Okay. And we'll kind of dive more into that after we get through these mistakes. So spot training is not the answer. A lot of people who kind of go to the gym and do that kind of stuff, like they don't really have a plan. They're guessing. They don't really know what they're doing. Like that's not what you should be doing anyway. Your time is valuable. Okay. Number 8, CrossFit. Now, let me tell you, let me just, I can see some faces. What? We probably have some CrossFitters on this call. Wait, what? I'm not allowed to do CrossFit? Check it out. All right, look, I'll just be straight up with you guys. Remember, sport-specific program. We're going to get into this. You're going to see some repetitive stuff here. But when it comes to CrossFit, I'll just tell you as a professional, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen a lot of people who've done CrossFit. I'll tell you one story first, and then I'll tell you a couple more things about it and why you shouldn't do it. But one story is I was working with this nurse back when I was working at Equinox. She came in. She actually was in really great shape. She looked really good. Like she was 38 years old, and she had 7 back surgeries. And I was like, what? Why do you have 7 back surgeries? What are you doing? And she's like, well, I do CrossFit like 5 days a week. And I'm like, it's about time to stop doing the CrossFit. Okay, for real. Like, I'm not going to get into like all the nitty gritty of like the fine-tuned details as to why CrossFit isn't something a referee should be doing. But I will tell you, that's one reason. The other reason is just the way the program is designed is it's not conducive to you, what you're doing out there and on the floor. Like it's really high risk. And so I say the only people who should be doing CrossFit are people who are actually competing in the CrossFit games. And so I would be willing to bet all of your guys' next game check that none of you guys are competing in the CrossFit games. Okay. So nobody on this call should be doing CrossFit. Okay. All right. We're just going to leave it at that because for real, I care about you guys. And I'm telling you this because I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't want you to have 7 back surgeries by the time you're 38. I don't want you to go, join the CrossFit cult 5 days a week. I'm just telling you, it's not going to be conducive to what you're doing out there on the floor. There's a better way. There's a safer way. And you should do it that way instead. Okay. Number 9, living in the gym. This kind of goes back a little bit, ties into the CrossFit thing, but a lot of guys out here are going to the gym 5-6 days a week for like hour, 2 hours. Check it out. We're talking about injury prevention. We're talking about longevity. Like your body, when you show up to the gym, you're actually stronger than when you leave the gym an hour later. Okay. When you leave the gym, you're weaker. And so you do need to program in days off. You do need to sleep. Like sleep is one of the most beneficial, most underrated things that we do as officials. Like we neglect our sleep all the time. We get out of the game and then and sometimes it's, depending on what your schedule's like and your work life and your family life, sometimes it's hard to sleep. But if you're going to the gym 5-6 days a week, you're really, there's a point of diminishing returns there. Like there's a point at which more workouts isn't going to get you a better result. Okay. So, and some of you might have some questions about that, and I'd be happy. By the way, Sean, I think we can give everyone my my contact info if they want to send me an email after this. coach@davidzetts.com would be a good email if you have any questions. But we're going to cover hopefully a whole lot of that stuff while we're here. But here's the other thing, like typically guys who go to the gym and ladies who go to the gym 5-6 days a week, they've hit a wall. A lot of the clients that I work with, they're actually have been doing that for a while. They've been going to the gym. They've been kind of guessing, but they've been in there and they're like go-getter types, and that's what I call them. Like you're the go-getter type. And a lot of times I actually pull pull them off of their frequency, and they get a better result from it just because they're recovering better. Okay. And you'll see some of the success stories here before we get into the what to do after this last point here. So last point, biggest mistake, eating nothing. Look, I'm just going to say food is fuel. All right. We already talked about some food stuff. We can answer some more specific questions about that towards the end of this, but food is fuel for your body. Okay. We should be always finding ways to improve our metabolism, which means you're burning more calories while we're just sitting here on Zoom. You know, you can only burn so many calories in an hour workout anyway. So like you getting in 5 days a week versus 3 isn't really going to be that big of a difference anyway, in terms of the results that you want, especially when you go about it a smart way, like I'm going to tell you here in a second. All right. So the next thing I'm going to show you just a few examples, some clients of mine. And as I go through these, I just kind of want you to like see if any one of them resonates with you. Okay. So that by the time we get to the end, you're like really taking good notes and you have some good questions. But really, this is designed so that you can kind of go through some of these and see, oh, okay, like, oh, you know, like you're going to see some real people that you might even know. Like number one of my guys, John, you know, here's what he says. He says, before I start working with David, my knees and back hurt on a daily basis. John came to me his first year in the league. And I'm telling you guys, if you want to be a top referee, you want to be a top 1%er type like John knew he had some knees and back issues going into his first year in the league. And he hits me up and he's like, dude, I can't be having this my first year. You know, you just can't. You know, Tony Green said, one injury can end it all. A chronic injury can also end it all, you know? So by the time John got into his season, we had been working for only about 6 weeks and his knees and back pain was gone. We built his body up. We slimmed out his waist, and now he's feeling like now he doesn't even think about it anymore, you know. And that's really a tremendous value for a referee, is to be able to go out there and not have any pain, and not only not have any pain, but not worry about it. You know, a lot of times we get hurt and like we start compensating other ways, and then we think, oh well, we can't train because if we train more, it's going to hurt more, and we're going to do something wrong. Look, there's also another really smart thing to do, which is like reach out and find somebody who knows what they're doing and get some help, you know? So John's doing great now. That's one example. Another example, this is one of my guys. If the look is what you're looking for, Jason wanted to take the lazy approach to fitness. He only wanted to spend, 3 days per week for less than an hour, because that's the only thing his schedule would allow. And this is an 8-week progress photo. That's him on the top, and then 8 weeks later, that's him in the bottom. Okay, and really, he was only going to the gym 3 days a week, and he dialed it in, and these are his results. Okay, and he was totally thrilled. Robert's on this call. Robert, you knew I was going to call on you, dude. So, Robert's awesome. Robert, I could tell an hour-long story about Robert, but Robert, anyway, I don't know if 52 is correct anymore, Robert.
Technically, no, it's 53 now. So,
oh, you're 53 now. Okay.
Yeah.
So Robert and I have been working for, gosh, what's it been, 2-3 years now, Robert, huh?
Yes, it's like 2.5 years. Yeah.
2.5 years. Yeah. So as you can see, here's kind of just what Robert said. I'll just read it real quick. You can jump in, Robert, if you'd like as well. But really, what touched my heart about you was the fact that you were that guy who was doing that 5 days per week for an hour. You do 30 minutes of cardio on top of that. Your body wasn't changing, right? Now you train 2 days per week, sometimes 3 if you feel like it. Yeah. And like you dropped all these shirt sizes. And the coolest thing about this story that I like to tell everyone, I'm going to put you on the spot, Robert, but after our first year working together, Robert totally transformed his body. I know you were dealing with some back stuff. You loves to ride his bike, and you went and tried out your first time trying out for one summer. How many college conferences did you get picked up with?
So John and Tony Stigliano here in Texas, they have, I want to say, 6 conferences: Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior college, and worked my first college game at the age of 51.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was no, I'm sorry, I was 52. So
and Robert is a retired school principal. Yeah. You do some work now, you do some consulting work and stuff for the school districts and stuff. But
right.
but the point is Robert had the confidence to go out there and try, and it was funny how you were like kind of like, I don't know, I think I'm gonna try out this year, and then you get picked up in like 6 conferences, and you're like, and he's like, I'm gonna be happy to get, what would you say, I'm happy to get 8 games this year. How many games you get?
Yeah, 20.
So boom, first year. Let's go, Rob. So anyway, I'm just saying that you put in the work and you make it simple, and you're a joy to work with. So way to freaking go there. Here's another one. Kara Hunter, she lost 10 inches in 12 weeks, and she still got to enjoy her wine and pasta. And same deal. Nobody trains more than 3 days a week in this program. And so that's Kara's quick little story there. And then we've got, I don't know if you have any golfers in here. This is my boy, Derek. He used to hit the ball 265 yards, and he used to have some back pain. And now he follows a very, very simple program, 2-3 days a week. And in just 8 weeks, he improved his drive 265 to 325. I don't know about you, show of hands. I don't know if there's any golfers, but who would like to add, like, what is that? I'm not very good at math, you guys. I'm a trainer. Math was not my thing. Even though I had 2 school teachers as parents, I was like, Mom, I can't even do math. But either way, point is, there's some other just fun results that you can get when you implement this simple stuff. Okay. So I think this is the last one. I wanted to give you guys a couple of different, some diversity on some of these. But here's Erin. She went from 30% body fat to 20% body fat. Craziest part is I eat more calories now than I did before. Some of you guys are like, how in the heck is that even possible? Well, I was telling you before, remember, the goal is to increase your metabolism. That's like the secret sauce. Okay. But it's possible for everyone. Okay. In a very, very, very simple way. And we've been flying through this. So if you have questions on how this all works, I'm here for you. Oh, we got one more. Jeff wanted to lose 20 pounds. Jeff, are you on this? I think Jeff's on this call. I thought I saw Jeff on this call. Yeah, Jeff wanted to just simplify his nutrition a little bit and get on a solid strength program that was going to make him faster and feel better, and this is as easy as it can be. He focused on, and I love this part, just 1 or 2 habits at a time. Look, I never give anyone more than 3 things to do at once. Okay. Because if I give you 5 things, it's going to get overwhelming, and you're probably not going to do any of them anyway. And you don't need to do any of them anyway. So that's the point. So focus on 1 or 2 habits at a time, make it specific to you. Also make it specific to the goals that you're looking for. Okay. Like the program I write for, here's one last one. So I believe this is Wes Smith. And I believe this was 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 months, 12 weeks. This was his progress. Okay. And he was only training about 2 or 3 days a week. Okay. So just to give you some more visuals there as to what is possible. Dude looks totally different. I saw him at a camp last week, and I was like, dude, I didn't even recognize. I saw him in the bathroom, and I was like, wait, what? Wes? He's like, oh, hey, man, So, these are the things that are possible with a really simple approach. So what are the 4 keys to look and feel great the easy way, AKA the smart way? So number 1, write this down. Follow a program specific to your goals. For real. The program that I write for Wes to lose all that weight is going to look different than the program I write, for example. Who am I looking at here? I can't pick on anyone. Anyway, someone who wants to gain muscle, right, is going to be a little bit different. We might tweak a little nutrition thing here. We might tweak a little daily activity thing there. right? To make sure that you're on track, and to make sure that like it's gonna work, you know. Like the worst thing you can do for yourself, especially right now when the season is, what is it, like 6 weeks away? Season is like right around the corner, guys. And one of the worst things you can do is like go, for one, start all those 10 mistakes that I just told you and waste your time. Okay. You only got a few weeks left. I'm not saying you got to train every single day of the week, but maybe there's like something you can do every day. You know, maybe you're not in the gym every single day, depending on your goals, right? So maybe it's like simple as like, hey, go for a walk for 10 minutes a day, a little extra. You know, all that stuff is going to add up, and you're going to start to see the results you want. So follow a program specific to your goals. Don't guess on this stuff. That's number one. Number two, follow a program specific to your sport. Okay. You guys are referees. Remember, you shouldn't be doing CrossFit as a referee. You know, you shouldn't be training like an Olympic weightlifter as a referee. There's just no reason for it. You know, you run, you need to look good, and you need to stop on a dime, and you need to be mobile, and you need to not hurt yourself. You know, part of this is you need an insurance program. you know, not only do you need to look the part, but you need a program that's going to make you more resilient as a person, as a body, as an athlete, and you are going to thank yourself throughout your career, and it's going to be awesome. Okay, so number three, simplify your nutrition. We already talked about a lot of the nutritional mistakes. Let's do a quick little interaction here, because hopefully you guys aren't falling asleep on him. I'm watching you guys. I got the squares up. I'm watching you guys. So we talked about macros. So let's do a little quiz. Let's just do a little macro quiz. So we've got proteins, carbs, and fats. How many of you know how many calories are in a gram of protein? Put it in the chat. Just a number. It's just a number. How many calories do you think are in a gram of protein? What do we got? 100, says Michael. Miles, you're not allowed to answer. Miles got it right. Miles says 4 calories in a gram of protein. Okay, cool. Now let's move on to carbs. How many calories are in a 1 gram? So it's not a lot, by the way. Robert, you said 100. I'm picking on you. It's not that many. A gram, think about it. Grams like not very much. So how many calories? Come on, put it in the chat. Miles probably knows. How many calories in a gram of carbs? Michael says 15. Robert says 10. Zach says 6. Corey says 5. Miles gets it right again with 4. Miles is the studious one here. All right, good job. So far we're equal. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting? So why is it that people say you shouldn't eat carbs when proteins and carbs are exactly the same calories? Why is that? I don't know. I'm just asking you. I'm just saying. All right. So last one, number 3 is fats. How many calories in 1 gram of fat? Come on. What do we got? Robert says 4. Michael says 4. Miles says 3. Kit says 4. 4, less than 1. What do we got? Anyone else? I don't see the answer yet. Answer pretty close, Ben. The answer is 9. Whoa. Okay. So interesting, right? So these keto people out here, all these keto people saying you should just eat fat. Maybe not. Maybe that shouldn't be your main thing. Maybe you should eat all 3 in a nice balanced way that you like, that you can stick with. How about that? Cool. Now, here's a bonus question. Alcohol. 1 gram of alcohol is how many calories? So protein's 4, carbs is 4, fats is 9, alcohol, Robert says way too many. Zach's pretty close. It's 7. Okay, it's 7. All right. So interesting thing about alcohol. Look, it may or may not, be the reason why you're not seeing the results you want. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's a part of it. It's usually not the whole reason though, right? Remember, one of the things we do is we sit down, you and I sit down, we have a conversation, we talk about what are your goals, what do you feel like the problem is, and then we dial that in, we change one or two things, and we get you rocking and rolling on that. Okay, so that's number 3. Last one, I touched on this already, but like, get some help for real. Like, I'm making myself available to you guys. I am really, really busy, especially right now, this time of year, especially with the season right around the corner. I don't know why, for whatever reason, everyone still thinks I've got plenty of clients who work with me in the off season and year round, and they're very, very smart about it. And I thank you guys. But there's also a lot of guys who, like to take a break in the off season. And so I do get really, really busy this time of year. But if you have any questions on this, I'd be happy to just like answer them for you for real. And I know Sean put that stuff in the chat. But the other way to do this, if you are serious, I do have a few spots left that I expect to close out probably by the end of next week. To be fully transparent about this, just because this is just a crazy time right now. But if you go to the website, okay, refereeadvantage.com, you can fill out a quick application. Myself or one of my team members or one of my coaches will reach out to you and try to get you into the schedule as soon as next week to have a conversation, and if you and I both agree to move forward on working together coming into the season, if you want to really dial it in, and we both agree, then we'll move forward. Okay. If one of us doesn't agree, we will move forward. Okay. Other than, let's see, oh yeah. And then here's the website there. Okay. Now I know that was a lot all at once. How are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. Sean, if you have anything to add to this, please do. And thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
David, I was trying to get in here a little earlier, but Tony Green joined you because he heard you were talking about him. So he joined us live from the ATL.
Tony Green. Yes, sir.
Hey, Dave, great job. Yeah, I was a few minutes late, but listen, great job. I had a question
yes,
for
sir.
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have problems with my hamstrings from back in track and field days and all.
Mhm.
And that's something that has kind of plagued me throughout, and I've had to,
So are they tight? They're tight hamstrings?
Yes. And like since the season ended, my left side, even down to my Achilles calf area, it's kind of scary because I think about my right Achilles tendon when I tore it. And so I've been doing all kind of stretches and stuff. So I didn't know if you had any suggestions, because I still feel a little, just a little tweak there in my hamstring and in the lower leg. So I just, I saw someone put in there riding bikes and swimming, which is what I do to basically try to get in shape.
Yeah, this is a great teaching point. So thank you for asking this question, Tony, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions as to how to deal with like tight muscles, tight things. Like a lot of times, whether it's, and I hear it all the time from referees, right? What are the big ones? The big ones are hamstrings, tight hamstrings, tight low back. Yeah. And sore knees. Those are kind of the three. The bottom two on top of that, or in addition to that, are like, your calf or your Achilles and things like that. Now, you did have an Achilles issue, right?
Correct.
And so is it both hamstrings, or is it
it's basically one, the same one. Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of times, like, I would probably need to ask you just a few more questions on to really give you
I can get in touch with you one-on-one. So.
Yeah, so here, what I would do, just send me an email, coach@davidzetts.com, but just to kind of give you some big picture stuff here. Like a lot of times, if you have a previous, like the biggest, here, I'll just ask this question. Maybe let me, I kind of already answered it, but this will be another quiz question that I think is really, really important for everyone to know. And that is, what is the biggest risk factor for a future injury? What do you guys think it is?
Not
Anyone?
stretching.
Okay, that's one answer. It's a pretty good answer, but that's not correct. Anyone else want to jump in on that? What is the number one risk factor for you to potentially have a future injury? So we've got overuse, we've got dehydration, we've got lack of use, we've got weak core. I like that one, Robert, but no. So I'll give you the answer. Write this down. The answer is a previous injury. Miles, he gets them all right. Oh my gosh. As soon as I'm saying it, Miles jumps in. A previous injury. A previous injury. Okay. So now that's not to scare you, Tony. That's not to scare you, because there are things that you can do, right? And that you should be doing because you have a previous injury, right? But a lot of times when you have a previous injury, you compensate other places in your body, and then you end up getting like a tight back, and then you end up getting, so really your program should be designed to balance you out, to get you more mobile. Here, another quiz question. I'm giving you guys all the stuff tonight. I'm telling you, my business coach would be very upset with me. All right. So what you need to work on to balance yourself out, make you more resilient so that you don't have that tightness anymore, are combination of really two, sometimes three, but two things: mobility and strength. Okay. So when you work on your mobility and strength in an intelligent way, then where you actually get them better over time. And that's one of the things I do in my program is I meet you right where you're at, and then I take you to another place on 4 different categories. Number 1, mobility. Number 2, strength. Number 3, speed. Number 4, conditioning. Okay, those are the 4. There's no other things that we need to work on except for those 4 things. Now, your program is going to look different, Tony, than like Sean's program, right? Because you guys have slightly different injuries and slightly different things that you're working on,
Right.
you know? So, but the fundamental 2 things that you need to improve are mobility and strength. And like if you think about, if you got a knee surgery, for example, people get knee surgeries. What happens? You get a knee surgery, you go see who? A physical therapist.
Right.
Typically. What do they do for you? They improve what? What 2 things for you if you get your knee surgery? They improve your mobility and they improve your strength.
Right.
As those things improve, pain goes down, tightness goes away. A lot of people think that they just need to stretch and only stretch and only run to stay in shape as a referee. And then they complain about tight hamstrings and tight low backs and things like that. And that's because they're neglecting one of the things that fundamentally makes your body more elastic, which is getting stronger.
Right.
Not only do your muscles get stronger, but your ligaments get stronger when you get stronger. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you got to go in there and back squat 300 pounds. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I have some clients who can do that, but like, that's not you, like there'd be no reason for you to do that, one of the, I would say one of the biggest benefits, for like, if you and I were to work together, Tony, how it would work is the first few weeks, we would really figure out where you're at on a couple of things. And then that would, based on the first few weeks, then that would determine, okay, what's going to be the next week and the next week. And it would be a step-by-step process. And that's how it would be for everybody and anyone, really. Like, meet you right where you're at, take you to a whole nother level on those 4 categories of things in an intelligent way that's going to fit your schedule, right? That's not going to like hurt you. I want you to feel better when you're going out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your program should not make you feel sore all the time. You might feel a little bit sore in the beginning. That's normal, but your body's going to adapt. And when you train in an intelligent way, and you don't worry about it too, like that's the other thing. It's like when clients work with me, it's like, I want you to not have to think too much about that. Like, you got plenty of other things to think about. Like, like LeBron James has like 10 coaches, you know what I mean? Like, when would now be a good time for referees who are serious about refereeing to like, have a coach,
Hey,
telling them
David.
So.
I got 4 questions that I want to try to get to you. We're running over a little bit now, but I want to make sure that you get these questions to you. And first question is a question, dieting versus caloric deficit. I haven't heard of that before.
Okay. So all right. Who said that one? Where is
That's
that?
Jason.
Where is that question?
It's up high.
The question is, okay, dieting versus caloric deficit. Is it the same thing? Is being in a caloric deficit that simple to losing weight? Jason, that is a really good question. In terms of the mistakes that I was talking about, a caloric deficit is required to, if you want to lose weight. But there are a lot of ways that you can go about that, and that's also why I talk about like get on a program that's gonna increase your metabolism too, because if you like, for example, there are a lot of these like apps out there that like you put in your weight and your height and your age, and it says you need to eat this many calories if you want to lose 10 pounds. Those things are incredibly inaccurate, and like they're not measuring your actual metabolism, because it's not taking into account, like if I asked you to point at your metabolism, like do you even know how, like what does that even really mean? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that go into your metabolism. It's not just like height, weight, and age, And so, but to answer your question, if you want to lose weight, yeah, you do need to be in a caloric deficit, but you can do that in some different ways. You could do that by, adding some more activity and to your schedule. You could do that by getting on a program that improves your metabolism, or you could do that by just like eating a little bit less. But the point is, sometimes it's not always about just eating less. Okay. Because when you can do all the things that you need, which are really only a couple things, which is like get strong, walk a few times a week, and like, be a little bit smarter about your nutrition. One of the things we'll do in the program is we'll just have you track your calories for a week, just kind of see where you're at. And then we'll measure the changes as you go, so that way we can basically guarantee that you're going to get a result, because we're going to be taking the information in the beginning. And then as your metabolism ramps up and as we start to tweak this and tweak that, you're going to start looking different. It's just going to happen. But that was a very roundabout way to say, in terms of what I was talking about, diets, I'm not talking about like a caloric deficit, but the reason why diets work is because they put you in a caloric deficit. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Am I totally confusing everyone now? No.
I think you got it. I think you cleared it.
Yeah.
So, David, next question. What are the ways to help with hip and glute issues?
Yeah.
Somebody was having trouble at the end of last season. The season ends, they're all tied up. What would you recommend?
So would need to know a little bit more information about the hip. What's the problem? Who said that?
That's Jason again.
Oh, Jason. So Jason, you're having some hip, take yourself off mute. You're having some hip stuff. What's going on?
Yeah, it was like a rear hip next to the glute, on the right side.
Okay.
And I think it was causing me a lot of imbalance issues. It was like end of the season, because that was imbalanced, and I think it was causing me issues on the whole left side as well, with my knee, my quad.
Do you get strong? Do you ever get strong on one leg?
Yeah, probably.
You work on that?
What I think it is like I work in a factory.
Okay.
And so I probably stand like on one side, and like I'm not really standing level.
Yeah. So I mean, it goes back to any imbalance or any pain or something. Usually pain comes from an imbalance somewhere, or a breakdown, weakness somewhere, whether it's a breakdown in your mobility somewhere or a breakdown in your strength somewhere, right? And depending on where that is it's gonna manifest pain somewhere, right? I would need to know a little bit more information, like to really fully diagnose and give you a plan on that. So if you wanted to like talk later next week about that, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. But I think big picture for you, it still goes back to those same things, right? It still goes back to, okay, let's get you balanced out by improving mobility and strength. Like I just keep going back to that because it just works, and I've done it with over 1,000 people in my life, in the last several years, and like it just flat out works. And so, I would say a lot of us get apprehensive to like starting something if we do have pain, just because it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing the right things. So, talk to someone that knows what to tell you, and it can give you the right things to do to help fix that issue. Because you might find, like, I have a lot of people, especially with the low backs and the knees, like a lot of people 3-4 weeks in, they're like, my back pain's gone. Like they came, they're like, what were their problems? They're like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want my back tightness and pain to go away. I'll tweet, when I run, referees are the only people in the world who think it's a great idea to run full speed one direction and look backwards at the same time. And like that just puts you in a tough spot. Like it just puts your body in like nobody else thinks that that's a good idea, okay, except for referees. So but like you're gonna have to do it. So we work a couple mobility things, maybe in your T-spine, we work some mobility in your hip, and then we just get you stronger as a whole. Pain goes away. Pain starts to go away. And so it's a pretty simple fix when you do it right.
Awesome. So David, what are your thoughts on getting a massage from a licensed, experienced therapist?
Dude. I recommend Robert. I see Robert going, yeah. I just told you, what did I just tell you a couple weeks ago, Robert, didn't I? Or like last month, I was like, Robert, I think it's time for you to just get one massage a month. Like it's great for you. I got nothing against massages. It depends on the person though, right? Like not everyone, like some people are really, and this is rare, but like some ladies are really hypermobile. Some of the ladies I work with are very hypermobile. It's like they're almost like two, like their joints are like, you know what I mean? And it's like, so sometimes for someone like that, maybe not, because that's just going to make things even more loose. But if you're experiencing tightness and things like that, and like you're checking all the boxes, like you're working on your mobility, right? You got to check the boxes first, right? I wouldn't just jump into just getting massages, to fix, because that's it's kind of more of a Band-Aid than anything, a temporary kind of, I feel good right now, but it's definitely a good thing that you can do if you do it consistently, like once a month or something. I recommend that all the time. So we're showing hands who would like to have a massage once a month, for real. Like just pay for it. Like just do the thing. Like
Especially during
like if you're someone who's like, oh, it's too expensive. It's like, dude, this is your body. This is your body we're talking about. This is your paycheck.
Yeah.
So
hey, Dave, Pete has a question. Unfortunately, I'm sad to hear Pete had meniscus surgery a few months ago, and he's still not running properly, has a little bit of discomfort, wants to know any suggestions you may have.
did you get it repaired or cut out? Removed?
It was a repair. I had a multi-directional tear, and so
Okay.
they
repaired it, and then you were 12 weeks in a straight leg.
They only had me about 8 weeks, and then I started doing rehab at a PT, and they got me out of it. And I do football as well, and I started running a couple weeks ago, and I'm still not running quite right yet.
Well, how long ago was your surgery?
End of May.
Okay. How's it feeling now?
It's okay. I sit a lot. I travel a lot. So sitting in the car when I get out of the vehicle, it's just very stiff, very stiff. And of course, then I get in another car to go to do a football game, and then it takes a while. And I'm the white hat for the football crew, and so I don't run as much as the other guys. And so when I do
in a chair, can you sit in a chair and stand up without pain?
Most of the time, yes. There's a few times where I definitely feel a twinge.
Yeah. So if it's just general guidelines here, I would want like more info, but general guideline, it's like, if it's just a little bit of a strain, like it's sometimes like it's okay to work through that a little bit to like get you more mobile and more strong. Like I'll just go back to that again, because that's fundamentally what's going to get you out of pain.
Right.
It's like this weird catch-22 where you're like, it hurts and I don't want to do anything. But then you're like, but I have to do a little bit of something for the pain to go away, So sometimes it's like, all right, just let's figure out a plan where you could do something that you can do comfortably without like shooting anything that's like shooting pain, or like you're feeling like, oh my God, I can't even like get up and down from a chair. It doesn't sound like that you're having that problem. So I would probably say it's safe for you to start doing some mobility and some strength for your lower body, especially like people neglect like their glutes. You shouldn't neglect your glutes. Your glutes, this is my favorite muscles. That was a joke. But anyway, you guys can laugh. No. No, but they're very important muscles, And so like guys, like the magic cure. Can't believe I'm telling you guys this right now. The magic cure. The magic cure for like low back is strengthen your glutes, strengthen your core. Because that surrounds your low back. A lot of times when you have low back pain, it's because of a lack of glute strength, a lack of hip mobility, and a lack of core strength. We fix those three things right there, back pain goes away. It's pretty simple.
Awesome. So Dave, we were right up on time. I wanted to give you a chance possibly to summarize all the wonderful tidbits you've given us tonight, and maybe share your website and information again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just like to I'd like to touch on what you say all the time, Sean. Like you and I talk about this, like, treat this game like a business. If you don't take care, you said this, I quoted you last week. If you don't take care of business, that's going to follow you, and like your body is at one small bucket, one small checkbox that you need to check if you want to be great out here. And even if you want to just be the best high school referee you can be, like you just enjoy this job and you want to continue, you want to prolong your career, you want to make a ton of money with this. I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure you guys make the most money the last 5 years of your career anyway, right? So like if you could extend, imagine if you can extend your career by 5 years, talking a lot of money, So treat it like a business. We got to talk about money when we talk about business. We got to talk about all those things. So I appreciate you, Sean, for bringing me on. Refereeadvantage.com is my website. You can fill out an application. I will get to those as soon as I possibly can this week. It's been crazy, but I do have a few spots left. Just if you want to just have a conversation, and we can have a conversation sometime next week. Okay, if you're interested.
Awesome, David. Thank you. We really appreciate it. I wanted to pause here and give my partner in crime, Bernard Clinton, an opportunity to say hello to everybody and to give us any comments.
Well, I'll tell you again, thanks, Dave, for coming on, and thanks for all the tidbits. Even though I'm out of the game, I don't have the aches and pains I used to have, but for sure, I wish you were around when I was having my knee issues.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys relying on PRP to keep me going, and didn't have the knowledge that you shared with everyone. Yeah. And I certainly appreciate that, and hopefully folks took copious notes and have an opportunity to join you with your team to get better and extend their careers.
Absolutely, my man.
That's all I have. Sorry I got on late, but appreciate you all for coming on.
Thank you, Bernard. It's been a pleasure, man. It's good to see you.
Good seeing you too,
as we said in the initial outset, this community And what our mission is to really to help you officials as you are navigating your careers at different levels. One thing that we take pride in is when you guys do well, when you guys have accomplishments and you have successes. This evening, I wanted to recognize a young person that just graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy last year. He came to one of my games at the Naval Academy, pulled me aside, waited for me to get to my car, said he wanted to get better as an official, wanted to meet me. I invited him to come to my camp, and I'm just very happy that Ben Sells on the line here just received a contract to be a full-time staff member of the EBOA, which is a partnership of 10 different leagues in both Division III and Division II on the East Coast. So the MAC Freedom, the MAC Commonwealth, Centennial Conference, quite a few others here in the East Coast ranks, but we're just very happy with Ben and his successes and everything. Keep working hard. Thanks for attending tonight. I hope all of you guys will continue to attend. If there's any way we can help you, we'd like to be able to do that. We have these events on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. I believe our guest speaker next week is going to be the illustrious East Coast NBA scout, Al Batista. That's going to come in and share his wisdom. And if you've ever been engaged in any of that, it is something of a treat for you to enjoy. So we hope to see you next week. Hope you have a good rest of the week. And thank you again for attending. David Zetts, thank you very much for all the knowledge and everything. Wish you well also, my friend.